Oh, it's Case of the Fridays, a thing that doesn't normally happen because we didn't stream Monday. What's up, guys? It's Michael Burns here with producer Henry. Do I sound like this because I'm high T, more masculine, all that sort of stuff? No, I sound like this because I still have a sinus infection. I'm still rocking my portable humidifier with me like a little boy. Um, Shadow Rail in the chat. Don't have imposter syndrome. Everyone feels like that. And what's up, Matthias in Denmark? We're going to talk about Trump's first week today. I think it's important with any job that we can step back and see how we're doing after our first week. And we're going to do that for the current president of the United States, Donald Trump. Someone said echo in the chat. Are we echoing? I don't know.
I
Oh,
think that's
nope.
the
Chuck.
reverb of your
Chuck, it was
room as well as your
no,
voice, but
it was Chuck's fault. Chuck said they had two tabs going.
okay.
So there you go. But yeah, so we're just going to kind of look at what has happened with Mr. Trump in this first week. We'll hang out for a little bit. I'm not feeling awesome, but for some reason I wanted to push through and do this. It probably says something bad about me internally or emotionally. Henry, how are you doing this week? Is it warming up in Austin?
Yeah, it was a little chilly earlier this week, but things are shaping up. It's thawing out. I'm currently going without a car. It's kind of a bit of an experiment just to see both.
Uh-huh.
I need to seriously like seek out a new one soon, but I've been kind of experiment like these past 2 weeks without one. It's been interesting noting how my habits are changed or what urgencies I feel or what pressures. Um, I feel less anxious than when I first was without a car, but I mean, it's been interesting to kind of experience that.
I love it. I was, had like a 4 or 5 year stretch without a car out here. It was fun. Logan in the chat says, heck yeah, F cars. Who knows what F means? And Simon reminds me that real men push through things. That's what men do. We push through emotions, illness, anything until it just balls up and eventually explodes in an act of domestic terror. Sean, how you doing? So let's see. Let's start by taking a look at this executive order tracker on Axios. So a big part of Trump's first week is that our number one boy went really hard with executive orders, which is where the president just gets to write on a piece of paper, do this, and then we have to do it. The big picture, according to Axios, is the Trump's radical expansion of executive power will dramatically change life for millions of people if the orders withstand the barrage of legal challenges that are already coming. So he started with some immigration executive orders promising mass deportations. I know that there have been reports of ICE raids all over the country. ICE is the what is it? Immigration Custom Enforcement or something? All right. So and that's obviously been one of the big things of the Trump campaign was that everything that's bad in America is because there's super soldier immigrants who are really strong and scary that want to ruin your life. And there were some pretty harrowing images this week of people who are waiting for appointments and for transfers and stuff like that at border crossings and things who were trying to legally enter the country who had those appointments canceled all of a sudden. He also declared a national emergency at the Mexico border, calling certain groups terrorist organizations, suspended U.S. refugee admission program resettlements. Let's see, nearly 1,660 Afghans cleared by the U.S. to resettle in the country, including family of active duty U.S. military personnel, had their flights canceled. He ordered Homeland Security to terminate all categorical parole programs that are contrary to the policies of the United States establishment executive orders, including those for refugees fleeing Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. There's a remain in Mexico policy, ending a program that released asylum seekers into the U.S. while their cases were considered. This one's pretty crazy. Birthright citizenship executive order. I know this one's already being challenged in the courts. It's an attempt to end birthright citizenship for those born to undocumented immigrants. It's protected by the U.S. Constitution. So, what are you going to do there? Energy and environment. This will be good, right? He's going to do good stuff for the climate. They declared a national energy emergency and ordered expedited, deregulated drilling. One order specifically targets energy production in Alaska, rescinding former President Biden's protections around the state's coastal areas. In a separate memorandum, he paused offshore wind leasing in federal waters. That's good. That's good. Paris Climate Treaty. Well, we withdrawed from that. So that's good. It takes a year to withdraw from the agreement. You know, thus far, I know everyone's feeling. I'm feeling good. That all seems great. Everything seems awesome. Oh, well, I feel bad. Bill said they paused the newest video to come to the live. You know, please go finish that. And also, if you haven't seen it already, Mattia has a sinus infection too. I'm sorry. Let me know if anything's working for you. I guess it's not working for you. You've had it for 2 weeks. Let's see. Okay. So he also took aim at the Biden administration's federal procurement targets for clean power, electric vehicles, and other energy goals. So that's cool. So thus far, hitting the border hard, hitting immigration hard, hitting the environment hard. But then we get to the big stuff: executive orders targeting DEI and transgender Americans. I saw something. I don't even want to I shouldn't speak on this because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was the number of people in America who self-identify as transgender, which is really small. And not to say that it's good that it's small, not bad that it's small, it just is small. But relative to that, it's pretty crazy how much of the incoming administration, including elements of Trump's inauguration speech, are just about trans people. Like, he's obsessed. He's obsessed, you know? Michael said, would it be masturbatory if Michael did a watch along the latest Wisecrack video? Would it cannibalize views? We've done that before. We've done it before. So I don't know if it cannibalized views, but please do watch today's video later if you haven't watched our new video already. Okay, so he established Monday that it is the policy of the United States to recognize two sexes, male and female, in official documents. Like, why do they care so much? You know, like what social, political, economic harm has been done by allowing people to self-identify as a non-binary gender?
It alleviates straight anxiety.
Seriously, I kind of wonder, like, it feels like all of the people involved in this administration accidentally went on a date with a trans person once and had like the best sex of their life, but then felt so much shame about it that now their entire political life is this, you know? Are they like got jerked off by someone once and found out they were trans and their boys were like, "Oh, you're gay, bro." And they're like, "Fuck, now I got to become president or vice president." It's really weird. And like the reason I go to these absurd, borderline, unconscious psychoanalytic explanations is because the only way I can understand it. Like I truly don't understand it. Like, why do people care?
Yeah, it is the projection of norms and demands that like things like make sense in a very limited scope for, again, the straight anxiety. But I mean,
yeah,
he could have I don't know if I can say words on YouTube. I'll say it muted and just sit.
Oh boy, okay. Yeah, you can say that. You can say that word. You can say that word.
Okay, I mean, he could have just had an executive order where he's like, all holes are now pussy, everybody's straight. Like, problem solved.
Oh boy. No, I think, but I think that's like, I mean, it's like, yeah, seems like that's what it is.
There's also just like the want to punish and like to, just see that the other is shamed so that you're reaffirmed as like a winner of society.
Mm-hmm. It's just so weird. I mean, it's like if your favorite color is blue and someone else's favorite color is red, it doesn't mean that your favorite color still can't be blue. Like, why do they care so much? It says these sexes are not changeable and are grounded in fundamental and incontrovertible reality. Transgender Americans were a central target of Trump's often hyperbolic and outright false campaign trail messaging. Like most people, like Trump and like these are people that I always say this when we think about like the Matt Walshes and Ben Shapiro's of the world. Like these are people that intentionally live and put themselves in areas that are overwhelmingly like white, straight Christian areas of the country. Like these are folks that don't even probably interact with trans folks that they're aware of on a regular basis. Like why do they care? Kamau in the chat said, I see it as testing waters about controlling the bodies, or rather imposing that people exist to provide for the state rather than the state providing for the people. I mean, yeah, I mean that's like
Yeah.
definitely the dark way of looking at this is the control of bodies and a biopolitical move in which we have to decide what bodies are, what bodies are for, and what the state can do with them. And there's a lot of scary things that happen once the state gets control over that. Um, Dog formerly known as a cat says JD Vance wears too much eyeliner to not be a drag queen. Um, let's see, Jarek, and Jarek, I really appreciate this, by the way, that you're being honest about your journey. As a former transphobe, it felt like someone telling me the grass is red and has never been green. It felt so foreign and absurd that it was hard to accept. I made a lot of progress since then. Jarek, that's amazing that you made progress. Really appreciate that, and thank you for being so uh, honest about that. And it is hard. Like I know that like when I was a teenager and first encountered people who were gay, like I was like, oh, that's weird. But like it wasn't weird. It was weird for me because I couldn't imagine being gay. So because I couldn't imagine it, somehow it meant that it was like weird or bad. But if the entire world was built around things I think are normative, well, the world would be fun, but it'd be pretty limited. Um, let's see. Going back to it. He also rescinded a Biden administration provision that allowed transgender people to serve in the military. Um, Trump did not immediately ban trans military personnel from serving as he did under his first administration, but he paved the path to revive the ban. Trump is part of his crusade against what the GOP decries as woke culture. Hey guys, welcome to the great unwokening. We're all in it. Order the dismantling of government diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives within 60 days. Now, to be clear, a lot of the corporate DEI stuff is like bad and silly, and much of it provides like a smokescreen for corporate liability. HR stuff in general normally isn't the best. Missa, what's up? Happy Canadian existence to you. Let's see. Eliminates policies that establish several diversity initiatives, Axios Emily Peck reports, including one that widens sex discrimination protections to include sexual orientation and gender identity. So yeah, basically a lot of policies that made workplaces not do discrimination aren't there anymore. In a Tuesday order, Trump specifically directed the Federal Aviation Administration to immediately return to non-discriminatory merit-based hiring as required by law. So this is literally, guys, this is literally like an online fucking conspiracy theory. When there was a couple of things that went wrong on planes, like it wasn't like when the door fell off the plane, it was because of diversity, right? It was something where when there was a couple like
I mean,
plane
when
accidents.
that bridge got hit by that boat, wasn't it because there was a DEI mayor? Like, there's just a wave of it, wasn't
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, it's because when you don't hire all whites, things don't work as well or something. I don't know.
Well,
It's
they're
it's it's
just not
crazy.
being a true meritocracy, which we know America was up until, I don't know, some nebulous time when the woke took over.
Yeah. I mean, I I'll maybe try to speak to the FAA thing with this analogy, right? Like for a number of years, I tried much more earnestly than I do now to break into the world of Hollywood screenwriting, right? I wanted to get staffed as a writer on a TV show. And something I was aware of was that a lot of studios had diversity initiatives. And, I have heard people say, some people that some of you, I don't want to say too much there, but there's a lot, a good amount of like white men in Hollywood in recent years have been like, oh, the reason I'm not successful is because of diversity and blah, 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 blah. I mean, here's my take on that or how I feel internally. It's like, am I probably as talented of a writer as some people that have gotten hired, let's say, through a diversity initiative? Like, sure, but are they bad writers? No, they're amazing writers. And like there's a lot of people that are good at things and not all the people can have jobs. And even if it means that like I didn't get the jobs that I wanted, it's better for society and culture if TV writers' rooms aren't just 10 white guys. And I think with like FAA stuff, the point isn't that they're saying like, "Hey, all you talented white workers, we don't want you because we found a few black guys that we know they haven't trained. We're just gonna give them jobs." No, like everyone is qualified. Everyone's ready for the jobs. Oh, that's silly. In a separate order, Trump ordered all executive departments and agencies to terminate what he called discriminatory and illegal preferences, policies, programs, guidance, and other provisions to combat illegal private sector DEI preferences, mandates, policies, programs, and activities. It's a big week for the whites. In doing so, we revoked decades of executive orders, including the Equal Employment Opportunity Order of 1965. I did see people saying that the 1965 Equal Employment Opportunity Order he can't legally rescind, and it seems like a lot of the things he's doing, there's not like he can't do the things that he thinks he can do.
Yeah, to what degree are they like declarative and performative versus like which ones have pragmatic infrastructure and like actual like implementation rules going in?
Yeah, because anyone could just like write something on a piece of paper and say it's an executive order and sign it. You know, um, maybe I want to do some executive orders. And if you in the chat, if any of you have ideas for executive orders, please let us know. We would love to do some executive orders. This says okay,
Yeah,
and
no.
also
I was just
oh, keep
gonna
going.
ask anyone in the chat who's like a federal employee, like how are you handling? I mean, you don't have to give major details. Also, if you're a Fed, don't start spying on us. But just like he assigned an executive order that said like all the remote work has to stop and people had to come back to office immediately, and that just seems like a weird, huge pause on everybody's system to start moving things around for very inefficient reasons. And again, it sounds like he's just saying everybody come back with no real plan of like how to get people back to office.
Yeah, voice in his head says Order 66. Someone else said state mandated girlfriends for the incels. Wow. No jam band song could exceed 15 minutes. I think that's fair. Or maybe you get like one a show that's allowed to go a little bit longer. Someone wants to do a Taco Tuesday executive order. Sig Bungus wants interest rates to go down. Hey, who doesn't? Let's see. It also calls for each agency to identify up to 9 potential civil compliance investigations of publicly traded corporations, blah, blah, blah. More federal worker stuff. Full-time return to in-office work for federal employees in order to hiring freeze on government positions. Okay. The hiring freeze does not apply to the military or immigration enforcement, national security, or public safety. So it's like you can't hire anyone to do anything for the government unless you're going to crack the heads of people as you try to deport them. He also reinstated his first Schedule F executive order, which can make it easier to fire civil servants deemed disloyal. That's one that I think is really crazy. The notion of loyalty as a
Yeah.
category, like that just feels really intense. What does it mean to be disloyal? And I don't know. That just seems really crazy. And it just seems more fascistic and authoritarian than it is democratic and existing in a normal world. Let's see. Let's see.
Papa
This gets
Shango
okay.
in the chat bringing up as a Fed employee that like yeah, it's to make the work life so unbearable that we quit. A feature, not a bug. And like yeah, I can very much see that engineered exhaustion being
Yeah.
a happy byproduct that they want.
Well, and I feel like that happened like last time that he worked, and there was all these the accounts of like government employees that left because he made shit suck so hard.
I really don't want the post office system to fail. My parents don't, they're not online people. They do a lot of stuff through snail mail still. That's very critical infrastructure for older Americans.
Yeah. Um, Wait, so it says, and this is about the loyalty thing. Employees are not required to personally or politically support the current president, but they must faithfully implement administration policies to the best of their ability, the order said. Okay. Uh, he pardoned the vast majority of January 6th defendants charged with participating in the Capitol riot and commuted the sentence of 14 others. Here's what we're going to say. Here's what I'm going to say. Which one is it, guys? Are we, do we love cops? Are the cops our favorite? Are the police the most important people? Do we back the blue, or or do we back the January 6th people who, like, didn't one cop end up with like irreparable brain damage because of that? Like, say what you will about anything, but the January 6th people like beat the shit out of cops. Um and I just find this so inconsistent. Like, is it that our police and our military are the most important people ever, or that? And it's just, I don't know. I guess I'll give Trump credit for like loyalty. I guess that's pretty cool that these people went real hard kind of on his account, and he's like, I got your backs. Like, that's cool, I guess. Um, but some of those who were pardoned were leaders of extremist groups, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, types of Nazis, flavors of Nazis. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for pardon, full pardon, Trump said from the Oval Office. They are hostages. Pardoning rioters was a prominent campaign pledge, but Trump had previously said recipients were determined on a case-by-case basis. Ugh. He also did a full and unconditional pardon for the creator of the Silk Road Marketplace. Does anyone know anything about that?
That was like a dark web thing, right? Like on tour for
Yeah.
getting like shrooms and drugs and cocaine and assassins and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought of Silk Road as, a place where you could buy definitely assassins and all the other stuff.
The very real occupation of paid assassin. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool era when you just go online, Google around a little bit, and find someone to assassinate one of your enemies. He also issued a full and conditional pardon to two police officers convicted with the 2020 murder of a 20-year-old black man in DC. Wait, so the police officers were convicted for murdering someone, and he just said, "Nah, you're good, dog."
Qualified
That's crazy.
immunity, Michael.
Hmm. So I guess he's at least being kind of consistent in getting the backs of cops. Um, let's see. He also has some health executive orders, pulling us out of the World Health Organization. And we're going to withdraw due to their mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic. He rescinded an order to lower the cost of prescription drugs, waived requirements that green card applicants be vaccinated against COVID-19. Yeah, I don't totally understand the implications of the WHO thing. Doesn't feel great. Doesn't feel awesome, you know? Yeah, the
Yeah, what
Silk
does
Road
that
stuff
do
feels
besides
kind of
cut
bad.
us off? Well, like I imagine it cuts us off from like communication knowledge and just being in the loop if something's coming around the corner, but also just like why? Why are we out of it? Is it because of the COVID stuff so confusing to me because the pharma companies like don't they want to profit off of this?
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. So let's see. Then there's this category of TikTok extension, Doge, and more executive orders. The Houthi rebels are terrorists. Government agencies don't abridge free speech. Review of trade practices, revoking security clearances, formally establishing the Department of Government Efficiency, suspending the TikTok ban, declaring that federal buildings should respect regional, traditional, and classical architectural heritage to beautify public spaces and ennoble the United States. It's so
So
funny that
we get to see a
the
lot more
guy who
like
built,
Native American designs and stuff then.
yeah. Um, I mean, also, if you've ever seen one of the Trump buildings, this is someone who really understands traditional architectural heritage. Um, Renaming Denali to Mount McKinley in the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. That's so dumb. Um, Declassifying files related to the assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther. That's sick. That's like legit sick. we gotta acknowledge sometimes that he does stuff that's cool. Um, Establishing a President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology composed of 24 members, revoking existing artificial intelligence policies and directives that act as barriers to revoke American AI innovation, and setting a 180-day deadline to develop an AI plan. Wow. I mean, if any of us, could get so much done in our first week at a job, first week of a new job, I like to just sit back and try to learn and not do anything. So say what you will about the policies, but he also took away Fauci's security. Um, AO Flex says, isn't Wisecrack supposed to be random apolitical stuff? Why are you guys so biased? Lame takes. What does that even mean? Random apolitical stuff? Like, what's random apolitical stuff? Like marbles? Like different types of toilet paper? Toothpaste taste testing? Random apolitical stuff. Everyone in the chat, list out some random apolitical stuff that we could talk about. Would love to do that. Let's see. Okay, so let's talk about AI. Is that random political? So I'm going to pull up Henry the AP article on the $500 billion AI
Oh, I'm
partnership.
just clicking through window panes until we get to something, but I'll see if I can kind of find that for you. But I'm trying to be random and apolitical.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. The description of where in the description of our channel does it say random and apolitical? I'm going to look this up. Okay. The channel description of Wisecrack. It says, oh, this is like a really old thing. Our channel explores big ideas like philosophy and critical thinking through the lens of movies, TV shows, video games, current events, books, and more. Nothing says random or apolitical. And if anything, exploring ideas like philosophy and critical thinking through the lens of current events. I mean, come on, dog. You can't bullshit a bullshitter. Okay, let's check this out. So
Ready?
another big thing that happened this week was the AI boys had a big day. The AI boys had a real big day. President Donald Trump on Tuesday talked of a joint venture investing up to $500 billion for infrastructure tied to artificial intelligence by a new partnership formed by OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank. The new entity, Stargate. Why do they always have to give stuff these sorts of names? We'll start building out data centers and the electricity generation needed for the further development. Oh, the electricity generation needed. I bet that's going to be great for the climate. Ooh, in Texas, Henry.
Yeah, it's going to be on
Look
our
at you.
grid. Awesome.
Yay, the initial investment is expected to be $100 billion and reach 5 times that sum. It's big money and high quality people, said Trump. People. And it's sorry guys, just so you know, I am occasionally making eyes with my daughter who's in the room right now. So, I just I'm not going to look at my great child if I'm in the same room as her.
Sorry. This is also
Go ahead.
just like, so this is just the president highlighting a joint venture announcement between 3 private entities. I don't think this is like
Yeah, it's very confusing
a
the way this is
thing
being
he
framed.
did like himself.
Yeah. So yeah, joining him were Masayoshi Son of SoftBank, Sam Altman of OpenAI, Larry Ellison of Oracle. Larry Ellison's a scary mother effer. All three credited Trump for helping make the project possible, even though building has already started and the project goes back to 2024. This will be the most important project of this era, said Sam Altman of OpenAI. Ellison noted that the data centers are already under construction with 10 being built so far. The chairman of Oracle suggests that product would be tied to digital health records and would make it easier to treat diseases such as cancer by developing a customized vaccine. I mean, the thing is, even if that is true, and it's like
Possibly developing.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a friend who knows science stuff this week. I don't really know science stuff, so if some of you know science stuff, please do let us know. But when I talked to my friend that knows science stuff, his point was like, it is true that these technologies can be used to do some cool stuff and potentially even figure out the cures to various diseases. But it is also true that these are privately owned things. It's not like a thing where, well, let's put it this way. if they figure out how to do something where they design cancer cures specific to one's genetic makeup, who do you think is getting that? Not you, not me, not anyone we know. We will not be the ones benefiting from that technology. Um, and Larry Ellison also talked about using some of this AI technology to make the world better via a digital police state, because he talked about how drones and AI could be used to monitor human behavior in all situations to keep us in check. So that's cool. 69 DJ says, your daughter being in the room means we won't get spicy or even hot takes from you. Oh no. We keep it 100 in this house, guys. Don't worry. We keep it 100. I don't raise a kid to lie to her. Raise a kid to be honest. And Simon, thanks for sending
Pass
out love from
666.
Austria. Hey, guys, 666. As always, a reminder uh, that common representations of Satan in the media are wildly mischaracterized and unfair. Our guy's a fallen angel. He basically got fired from the angelic lifestyle. And who among us has not been fired from a job and had to pick up the pieces? So when we think about Satan, just remember he's a guy that had a job. It didn't go well. And yeah, did he then sort of stalk his boss? Did he then get his boss's son and drag him to the desert for 40 days, tempting him? Like, yeah, that's not the best. It's not the best.
He got all his
But he
friends turned into serpents.
yeah. But he's, it is what it is. Jelly Spready, how you doing? Glad that you're here. Let's see. Let's get back to this AI article. It's the beginning of the golden age, said Sun. Sun, a billionaire based in Japan, already committed in December to invest $100 billion in U.S. projects. While Trump is seized on similar announcements to show that his presidency is boosting the economy, there were already expectations of a massive build out in data. Yeah. The initial plans for Stargate. Also, just again, why does everything have to be called stuff like Stargate? We have a new project that's called Return of the Empire.
Someone in the chat made a Stargate Atlantis joke, and I guarantee you, if you were in that room and you made that crack to these people, none of them would get it. They don't actually know what like Stargate's in reference to.
Yeah. I don't know. This is in reference. Someone said implying that not sharing your political opinions is lying is kind of weird. Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Let's see. Oh, what's up, the break room? We love the break room. If you guys want to watch content about content, check out the break room. I need to watch the break room talk about the new season of Severance. Also, break room, did you guys talk about, did you Squid Game? I just finished Squid Game season 2. I don't know if that's something you guys covered. Let's see. OpenAI wrote in a letter to the Biden administration's Commerce Department last fall that planning and permitting blah, 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 blah. Other partners include a bunch of other people. Blackstone was involved. The White House has put out an emphasis on making it easier to build out new electricity generation in anticipation of AI's expansion. No, the United States is in a competitive race against China. I mean, important to remember as well that the generation of the power needed for AI technology is directly correlated to the perpetuation of the conditions leading to climate change. So that's fun.
Break room doing a Severance stream at 12 p.m.
Ooh, baby boy. Trump, everyone go watch that after this ends. Why not? Trump supporter Elon Musk, worth more than $400 billion, was an early investor in OpenAI, but has since challenged its move to for-profit status and has started his own AI company, XAI. Musk is also in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency, blah, blah, blah. So there's our AI news. That's happening. So that's great. Everything's going really wonderful. Let's see what we got. Ross, some of these AI programs can be used to catalog millions or billions of different ways proteins fold themselves, or different types of drug interactions, combinations, which can help with curing diseases. This is awesome. And thank you for sharing that, Ross. We don't have a lot of people that know a lot about science here. I mean, I think this is the point, right? Also, thank you, Break Room, for letting me know. Break Room. We all know it's Evan. But I think that sometimes we can fall into this thing of being negative about technology because the people that use the technology are ghouls that want to do ghoul stuff with it. But Like all of this sounds great, right? It would be great if technologies like this were used for the general good.
The thing
Like if we had
is,
a go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, so many technologies right now get thrown under AI as a general umbrella term, where some of it's like automated processes we're figuring out how to do faster, and then others are like the linear learning models and the image stealing stuff we see.
Yeah. Man, waffle fries are so good, as are curly fries. Um, but yeah, so I just think like that's important. Like when we talk about this, and if I'm being like glib or disrespectful, not disrespectful, but it's like I think sometimes there can be a unconscious like Ludditism amongst more progressive leaning people where because the people that run the technologies are ghouls, we think the technologies are bad. But the sort of classic Marxist point here would be that technology in itself or technology is a good when that good is used for the perpetuation of conditions that make everyone's lives better, right? Like if using technology means we're working less, we're healthier, we have better access to all the sort, that's great. But there just hasn't been a lot of indications that those things will happen. Let's look at one more thing on Trump's first week. Um, let's see if this will work because let's watch a sermon. You guys ready to go to church? You guys ready to go to church? Shout to what's the guy that has the song "Take Us to Church"? Panty Hosiers, the Hosier. That's a guy, right? Hozier. In the chat, I'm not gonna look this up. I think there's a guy who's like Hosier, and he's a singer, and he has a song about going to church. Um, let's see. Cool. Um, okay, Hosier. Yeah, so long and pork nose. So I know we're not at 7-7, but we're gonna go to church. So guys, there was
Maybe
a
this can take us to
prayer.
777.
Yeah. Okay. So there was a national prayer breakfast service thing in DC the day after the inauguration. We have a national cathedral here in America. It's called Walmart. No, we have a cathedral in DC. I went there once. It's very pretty. I forget what I was there for. It's a very pretty cathedral. And it's Episcopal because we're British like that. And the bishop of the National Cathedral, gave a little spiel, gave a little homily, and said some stuff. So let's look at what um, Bishop Booty Bud said to Trump and co.
Let me make one final plea.
Let me do one thing, guys. I didn't have my audio set up right. I want to make sure it's coming through my headphones here. Okay, here we go.
Mr. President, millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God.
I'll just say this. If you're going to say in your inaugural speech, as he said in a bunch of campaign events, that God saved you from the bullet that clipped your ear because he has higher purposes, then yeah, you got to be about it then, if that's going to be your whole thing.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation.
I'll just say that I'm genuinely impressed that this bishop, because I don't know if the camera's going to move so you see this, but our guy, Donald Regina Trump, was in the front row. So she's looking our man's in the eyes and talking to him. And there's a clip too where JD Vance, good Catholic boy, rolls his eyes like the little chud that he is. But I think that takes some chutzpah to kind of just say all of this to him. But it's also crazy that it's controversial to say to someone who's at your church, hey, just have a baseline social ethic that is cohesive with the faith that you have attached your whole thing to.
But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land.
And for those who aren't clued up on things of a spiritual nature, mercy for the stranger, the wanderer, the traveler, it's all over, the Old and New Testament. It's not like a thing that comes up once. It's a thing that comes up over and over and over. And it even plays into, the New Testament story in which Mary and Joseph are like wandering when she's pregnant. And they're like, oh, we're going to have this damn kid. And they end up in a stable or whatever. Like it's all over the book.
May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world. Amen.
Okay, so there was our spiritual journey for today. I know that you all thought you were going to go to church. Thank you so much, Verilyn. So, yeah, someone said mercy. That sounds woke. Let's see. There's the NPR story on it, which has some like details there. So Trump's reaction, I don't know if some of you saw it. He posted on Truth Social that this like bishop was a hack and unprofessional, and like she attacked him. Our friend Matt Walsh tweeted some stuff implying that because of her haircut, she's like some no good lesbian or something like that. Like the reactions from those folks to this were really vicious. But when you watch it, it's a very tempered, even toned plea for someone who claims to have faith as a part of their political project to just be Christian-y about those things, to acknowledge the dignity of all humans. And it's sort of like, if that makes someone mad, what does that say about them? And not just Trump, if people around Trump, if people in this country who use their faith as justification for things like hatred towards migrants and immigrants, like if they hate that, like what does that say about them? Like imagine hearing someone say like, hey, can we just not terrify queer and trans kids? And hey, can we not like vilify people who are from another country? And can we acknowledge that like all humans deserve dignity? Like just imagine being mad at that, Someone said some dude called it the sin of empathy. I did see something like that online. I forget where that was. I'll maybe just like quickly Google the sin of empathy. What a horrible thing. Okay, I'm not gonna, but yeah, that's just so insane to call empathy a sin. You guys know we love empathy over here. Oh yeah, someone named Ben Garrett. Yeah, I see this one tweet. Someone said, Ben Garrett, do not commit the sin of empathy. This snake is God's enemy. Jesus Christ. Okay, so here's there's an NPR article that is about. Oh, yeah. Do not that's crazy. Well, yeah, we'll quickly look at this then. It's just an NPR reaction to the thing. Because Bishop Marian Edgar Bud, I don't know how to say that last name. I can't deal with it. Yeah, she said, I decided to ask him as gently as I could to have mercy. How dangerous it is to speak of people in these broad categories, and particularly immigrants, as being criminals or transgender children being dangerous. To be united as a country with so many riches of diversity, we need mercy, we need compassion, we need empathy. And rather than list that as a broad category, you heard me say, I decided to make an appeal to the president. So yeah, they kind of, so Trump and his allies quickly criticized the bishop's remark, with one Republican congressman saying that the American-born Bud should be added to the deportation list. Despite the backlash, she told NPR that her remarks were sincere. She said, I don't hate the president. I pray for him. I don't feel there's a need to apologize for a request for mercy. Yes. Like, why would you? I apologize for saying that you should be merciful and kind to people. Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? What's up, Eddie? That's nuts. Let's see. She says it came a day after Trump rolled out a series of executive orders to do blah 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 stuff. Trump criticized the remarks. Let me see if I Trump's okay. So this is. I'll send you this link, Henry. I didn't know that this website exists now. Trumpstruth.org. My God. Yeah. It says the so-called bishop, also so-called. She's a bishop.
So-called
That's her job.
bishop.
That's like her job. Who spoke at the National Prayer Service, was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone. Nasty in tone. She was just like, hey, Mr. President, I humbly ask that you, like, what is nasty about that? She wasn't like, what up, Trump, you bitch? And not compelling or smart. This guy loves telling women that they're not smart. She failed to mention the large number of illegal migrants that came into our country and killed people. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It's a giant crime wave. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was a very boring and uninspiring one. Wow. She is not very good at her job. She and her church owe the public an apology. Jesus Christ. Like, we just live in the stupidest place. Yeah, he always calls women nasty at the stupidest time. And like, wait, if someone asked me, I saw someone said, "Are you a Christian?" I don't know if you meant that to me. I'm not currently a practitioner of any religious tradition. I used to be. I grew up Catholic. I consider myself Irish Catholic. And I studied theology, so I know a lot about this stuff. I know a good amount about this stuff. But I mean, the thing straight up here is simply that, we're almost to 777. You might get a prayer from me. You know, what that bishop said, or the things she said, were pretty fundamental to the Christian faith and the Jewish faith, because, both parts of the book. And the call to act out justice and mercy, the call to care for the wanderer, the traveler, the widow, the orphan, the migrant, the sick, is just all over the Old and New Testaments. So for Trump and Vance and people of their ilk to, continue to attach their political agenda to Christian theology is just an absolute contradiction. And it's, and we're working on a video for the main channel about this, but it just reminds me again of that overall theme of like a hyper normalization where things that don't make sense and seem utterly contradictory continue to just happen, and we just accept it because we're like, I guess that's what things are like now. And this is another instance of that. And it's scary to know that we live in a political system where a president could go to a Christian church and the Christian bishop could say very basic stuff. Yeah, Mark says they were raised Anglican. Yeah, like none of this is new. Like if you went to an Episcopal or Anglican church, you would hear these things. This isn't shocking or new. But it's just a weird precedent. And makes one wonder what someone before said we should only talk about apolitical stuff here. I'll weave it into some philosophical stuff to wrap up if that makes that person who's definitely not still here happy.
Well, we did pass 777, so we should have an apolitical prayer.
Okay, apolitical prayer. Dear non-offensive, non-political God, we pray that you keep all of us safe from the sin of empathy. We ask that you do not let our human desire to treat others like human beings get in the way of political gains. We pray that your calls for mercy and justice apply only to those that we like and look like us and act like us and like the same TV shows that we do. And we want to be reminded dear apolitical God, that you divine presidents, you divine kings, and we serve these people in the same way that we serve you. In the name of the apolitical Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. But yeah, I was gonna say, like, sort of vaguely philosophically speaking, the issue with all of this stuff is just how do I frame this? Sorry, my head is so full of sinus mucus that forming thoughts is difficult. Blake, thanks for watching the parasocial video. And yeah, if you guys haven't, we're gonna wrap up in a second. If you haven't watched our new video, please go check it out when this is over. I'll make sure I have a link ready so I can put it in the chat so you can go check it out. Because if you did, it would make me really happy. But you know, we have to have some like epistemological, philosophical, whatever you want to call it, basis to acknowledge that some things are true, or at least that some things are consistent or coherent, or whatever you might want to call it. And sorry. And this is one of those instances where, like, it shouldn't be, there shouldn't even be room for debate or controversy in this instance. You know, it shouldn't be controversial to point out some of the other contradictions that are taking place in some of the stuff Trump's doing. I know I'm being kind of unclear right now, guys. I'm sure next week, if my head clears up, I'll be way more articulate. But oh yeah, and if you did watch today's video, I did shout out the stream community because I love you guys. But I don't know. I guess what I'm basically saying is, like, I wish that we all just had zero tolerance for all this bullshit and could call stuff what it was. Guys, we're gonna be back.
Yeah, getting at the teleology of things. Just so much of this is obfuscation so that they can keep doing bad things while everybody's going like, well, technically this is hypocrisy.
Yeah, 100%. So, you know, guys, I just did the link to the new video a couple times in the chat. I'll do it a few more times after I reload the page because everything just shut down for me. But we'll be back Monday. Hey, thanks, German comrade. Sorry that some of the bad vibes are headed your way too. But you know, love you guys. Thanks for hanging out watching. We'll be back Monday. And then Wednesday, we're going to have Daniel Bessner as a guest from the American Prestige podcast, a historian, author, someone who goes on so many podcasts too. So Daniel Bessner is going to come hang out with us on Wednesday. I'm really excited about that. Matt is late in here. We appreciate it. Like the stream on the way out if you haven't already. It helps us out when you do. And then please go watch our newest video over on the main channel. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
See y'all Monday.